Good evening and welcome to Grady Sportsource. I'm your host, Elizabeth Hurd. We have another busy Friday night for Athens area high school teams, including a few tough tests on the road. This week, I'm joined by analysts Kevin Keneally and Jack Sadigan. Good to have you guys. Before we get into tonight's games, Jack is going to break down the two rivalry games from last week.
Yeah, guys, we had Athens Academy first against Prince Avenue Christian, and then they would send it to Clark Central and Cedar Shoals in the classic Athens rivalry. That's where we're going to start. Clark Central traveling just over 5 miles to come to Cedar Shoals and open up region play for both of these teams. First quarter, 3rd and 12. Rusher finds Jordavian Colbert, 37-yard play. Not only did it get a first down, it set up this, a 42-yard field goal from William Fang. The Jags have their early 3-0 lead. Second quarter now, Clark Central trying to get on the board. Ward finds A.J. Sewell. Look at the speed, huge touchdown, but a flag is going to bring this all the way back. Clark Central would try and settle for a field goal later on the drive. No problem, 25-yarder. Wrong. Christian Bryan goes wide right, and the Cedar Shoals stays in the lead. That would fire up the Jags, leading 3-0. Clark Central didn't spend much time grieving, though. O'Brien Barnett, rumbling inside the 20-yard line, takes a couple defenders to drag him down. A few plays later, it would be this. Goal line touchdown. Clark Central lead. All business for O'Brien Barnett. And Clark Central would just pour it on from there. Same play as before, this time no flag. Jarius Mack, 52 yards. Clark Central would take the 14-3 lead into the locker room, and they really wouldn't look back from there. Deep third quarter now, Clark Central dominating. Barnett, he's tough to bring down. He's also tough to catch. Look at him run past a couple defenders. Clark Central rolling at this point, and they dominated this one. 34-10 victory. Isaac Ward, 13 for 15, 3 touchdowns on the day. Our second big matchup was Athens Academy going to take on Prince Avenue. The 4-star Laneith Whitehead went down early in this one with a lower left leg injury. His replacement, this guy, Kurt Nisley. Look at this run, couldn't stay on his feet, but just 2 plays later, he's able to score the touchdown. Athens Academy was up 14-0 at this point. Here's the other 4-star, Dion Colsey, battling through defenders on this run, 28-yard touchdown. Take another look. Trey Willis lays down a nice block to free up the junior, and he's able to get into the end zone. Athens Academy rolls in this one. They are now 5-0 and hold the number 1A private ranking at the moment. Coming up, guys, we have a fun segment we like to call Fact or Fiction. Elizabeth, why don't you give us a breakdown?
So for this segment, we're going to kind of run through some questions, and you're going to say whether it's fact or fiction by the end of the season. Are you guys ready?
Ready.
Okay. First question. After back-to-back blowout losses, Cedar Shoals should throw in the towel on this season.
Fact. They started the season 3-0 with 2 overtime victories. However, with losses in 2 of the last 3, including a blowout loss at home to rival Clark Central, they just looked overmatched this season.
I'm going to have to disagree, Kevin. I think this is fiction. Let's not forget, this was a Cedar Shoals team, 5 straight losing seasons before Coach Riles turned them around in 2017. And they're 4-2 right now. There's nothing bad about being 4-2. They're probably going to get blown out by Buford, but it gets a little bit easier down the stretch for them. And I still call this season a win if I'm a Jags fan.
Okay, all right. So next question. Even without Laneith Whitehead, Athens Academy will win the GHSA State Championship for the first time in school history. Jack, you go first here.
Yeah, I'm going to call this fiction. It's really hard to win a state championship, and they've only got 2 4-stars on their team. Laneith Whitehead out for all the regular season and most likely the rest of the playoffs with that lower left leg injury. If they don't have him, some team down the road, whether it's Holy Innocents or Elka, who's been haunting them the past 2 years, is going to find a way to bring him down.
Yeah, I agree with you, Jack. I don't see how Athens Academy is going to get past Elka this year again for the 3rd straight season if they don't have Whitehead in the playoffs.
Okay, moving on to our third question. Isaac Ward is the best Athens area quarterback this season.
That's a fact for me. For Ward's development this season compared to last year is game-changing. He's able to open up the field for Clark Central this year, and he's able to get the ball downfield and find receivers at all areas, and really just turn his team into an offensive juggernaut.
I'm going to have to say this is 100% fiction. Are we forgetting about Max Johnson, the 4-star from LSU? He's absolutely filthy. If you watch some of his game tape, he might not just be the best quarterback in the he is the best quarterback in the Athens area. He might be the best player in Athens area. He's definitely the best playmaker. I don't know how you can overlook him. He is definitely, Isaac Ward, you can't deny his improvements, but Max Johnson is far and away the better quarterback.
All right, got some strong opinions there. North Oconee will finish the regular season undefeated.
Yeah, this is a fact. The only tough thing you have to look at is they play Oconee County at the end of the season. That's really their only tough game. And I know I just talked up Max Johnson, but I feel like North Oconee can ride the momentum if they're 9-0 at that point and win that game. Don't get me wrong, an undefeated season doesn't mean they're not going to struggle in the playoffs, but I do think they can finish the regular season undefeated.
Like you said about Max Johnson, this is senior year, 4-star quarterback going to LSU. I think he's going to end the season on top. He's going to knock off North Oconee, and Oconee County will give the Titans their first loss of the season.
Okay. Moving on to our fifth and final statement, Lucian Anderson III will struggle come playoff time for the Prince Avenue Christian.
That's a fact for me. Experience is everything, especially in the playoffs, and with only 3 starts under his belt, his first 2 he looked really good. However, his last one against his first real tough defensive matchup, he did not look good, and I just think that's going to catch up to him come playoffs.
Yeah, I'm pretty much agreeing with Kevin on this one. He not only has 3 starts, he only has 3 more starts to actually get ready for the playoffs, and experience is everything in high school football, like you mentioned. He just doesn't have enough time to get ready and face some of these top teams. They've already played the best 2 teams in 1A on their schedule, in Wesleyan and Athens Academy. There's not enough good games left for him to get ready for the playoffs.
All right, well, thanks, guys. I think I have my opinion on who I think took home the analyst win this week. But still to come on Grady Sportsource, our feature reporters Ali Santoro and Lindsay Van Houten take a look at the national decline in high school football participation and the steps the Georgia High School Association took to prevent this decline from occurring in the state. And with less than 2 hours until kickoff, Kevin and Jack will take you through our games in the area and what they think will be the deciding factors in tonight's matchups when we come back from break.
What to expect when you're expecting.
Like here.
A teenager.
Today, I'm going to show you how to team-proof your home. First step, hide the car keys. Preferably somewhere they would never look. Challenges will come up. Be ready for them. Hi, honey.
Ready for the... Mom, you don't use mannequins in the mannequin challenge.
You don't have to know it all to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
Did you hear about the pony with a sore throat? He was a little horse. Can I tell you a cat joke? Just kidding. Why couldn't the Why was the basketball court all wet? Why? Because the players kept dribbling all over it. Where did cats go on vacation? New York.
Did you know parking over tall, dry grass can spark a wildfire?
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Welcome back to Grady Sportsource. As of 2015, the Georgia High School Association implemented safety standards that limited full contact during in-season football practices throughout Georgia high schools. After noticing a national decline in high school football participation, the GHSA wanted to be sure this decline didn't take place in Georgia as well.
At first I did say, no, you're not going to play, but he just enjoyed it so much.
Joyce Urbanos was concerned at first when her son Jojo said he wanted to play tackle football.
It's been hard to get him to like really enjoy a sport, and so he did play soccer and then just wasn't really into it. At recess they would play football and he just loved it. And so this is the first sport that he just like really loves. He's good at it. So I encourage it as long as he's having fun and it's good exercise for him.
Sorbano's initial reaction mirrors the feelings felt by a large community of parents.
They definitely question him playing football, like other parents that, they'll say, oh, my kid's never going to play football, and, there's definitely opinions about it.
To Oconee County's coach, David Weeks, the growing concern he's seen from parents has been about concussions.
These parents have just been inundated with articles and people talking about concussions, and so they get a little skittish, and I understand their perspective on it.
Despite concerns, participation numbers in Georgia are still going up thanks to preventative measures.
I have some parents that will come talk to me, not on the football field, but just out in the community. They'll say, I don't want my kid playing football because I'm afraid of concussions. For so long there, it was great to celebrate the big hits where guys would lower their head and knock people out. Well, that's not the way the game's played now. So we teach our kids not even to use their head. Everything's shoulder tackling and rugby-style tackling.
The Georgia High School Association noticed the national decline early and decided to take on the issue early on. In 2015, the GHSA became the 7th athletic association in the nation to adopt the new safety standards. Associate Director Tommy Whittle was instrumental in the implementation of these new safety standards.
Well, we were concerned that the national numbers were dropping, and we just didn't want that to develop in Georgia. And football's more of a religion in Georgia than it is in a lot of other states. We wanted to make the game as safe as we could and yet try to keep it football.
Football may remain a religion in the South, but a solution to saving the game of football may be coming from New Hampshire. Buddy Tevens, Dartmouth College's head football coach, paired up with Dartmouth's engineering school to create a mobile tackling dummy. Tevens' idea has had pushback at times, but with no tackling in season, preseason, or out of season, his players take about 4,000 to 10,000 less concussive hits.
It sounds strange in the recruiting process. It's big with moms and dads because they want to hear a drop-off in subconcussive hits and contacts. We actually tackle more than anybody in the country, in my opinion. We just don't tackle people. So we're better at the skill set, and the trade-off is, well, can you do it in a game? We've proven, I think, fairly successfully that yes, you can.
Switching to this method has cut the missed tackling rate by 50% for Dartmouth. At 3-0 so far this season, Tevens credits safer practices to success on the field.
I say it all the time, the more you hit, the more you get hurt, period. You argue it any way you want. So can we prepare people and hit them less? This is just an opportunity to do so.
Reporting for Grady Sportsource, I'm Lindsay Van Houten.
I'm joined now by feature reporter Lindsay Van Houten. Lindsay, what are some of these new safety standards you saw being implemented for the Athens area schools, maybe similar to those of Dartmouth College's program?
A similarity between the Athens area high schools was that in 2015 they limited full contact practices to about 2 hours a week, and they also eliminated 2-a-days, which really was due to their worry about concussions.
Thanks, Lindsay. Now shifting gears a bit, we're going to take it over to Jack and Kevin, who are going to take us through this week's Athens area games.
Thanks, Elizabeth. This is your Athens area games preview. Again, Jack Sadigan alongside Kevin Keneally. First game up, two schools just 18 miles apart, Athens Christian and Prince Avenue Christian. Kevin, the big question, how will Lucian Anderson bounce back after what can only be described as an embarrassing performance last week?
Yeah, last week he only completed about 29% of his passes for 32 yards and an interception against Athens Academy. But let's not forget about his dominance the last 2 weeks in his first 2 career starts. And tonight he's going to have a little bit of an easier matchup against an Eagles team who gives up just under 30 points a game. After this week, he has a bye week, so we'll have 2 weeks to really sit down, go over the film, and get ready for the playoffs.
We'll see what he can do with that. This team won't get tested again until November 1st on a matchup on the road against George Walton. Up next, a 5A Region 8 matchup between undefeated Buford and Cedar Shoals. Cedar Shoals fans, you might want to look away from this one, Kevin. It could get ugly.
Yeah, not only did Cedar Shoals get blown out by their rivals Clark Central last week at home, but they're winless against the Wolves and have been outscored by a combined 167-20 in those 3 games.
Yeah, Buford's won the region 3 years in a row. They're poised to make another deep playoff run. They look like a 7A team playing in 5A. This next game, an interesting one, a struggling Loganville team against a reborn Clark Central offense.
Yeah, the Gladiators nearly won that game last year, 8-3. This year, the offense is completely different. The development of Isaac Ward has really opened up the passing game and has opened up the team's ability to do the run-pass option plays and just get the ball downfield very fast. Here are some examples. In the first clip, you get a great example of Ward's arm strength and his ability to stretch the field for the Gladiators, all while hitting his receiver in stride here for a 55-yard touchdown to give the Gladiators a 14-7 lead over the Warriors late in the first quarter.
Yeah, that was a great job, Kevin. And we move right into our next game, North Oconee traveling to Madison County. Kevin, a couple of fun matchups in this one. What's your favorite?
The connection between Bubba Chandler and Eli Warrington is fun to watch. Warrington has touchdowns in each of his last 3 games. I'm really excited to see what he can do tonight against a strong Madison County secondary.
Yeah, he does a great job finding open receivers. In our final matchup, Oconee County will travel to take on a St. Pius team that's beaten the Warriors 4 of the last 5 seasons, including back-to-back wins.
I really think this is Oconee County's year. This is the best Matt Johnson has looked with a revived wide receiver core led by his brother Jake. The Warriors should be able to use their run game early to really open up their offense and establish the run-pass option and play action, which really helps them stretch the field and hit some big plays like this one you see on the screen.
Yeah, he can really hit some big plays. Him and Jake have that kind of special connection. Thank you so much, Kevin. And be sure to tweet by Grady Sports for your thoughts on tonight's games. Back to you, Elizabeth.
Thanks, guys. Coming up, we'll continue with more on Oconee County. The Warriors head coach is looking to make program history this season. We'll introduce you to him as well as our player in the spotlight from Athens Academy. And we'll talk about what to watch in this week's Game of the Week after we come back from break.
Can I tell you a cat joke? Just kidding. Why did the girl ask the mushroom to dance? Because he was a fun guy. What do you call a pig that knows karate? Pork chop. So how does a tissue dance? Put a little boogie on it.
Hamilton was adopted from a rescue in 2008. He really likes to be around people. And as soon as I start to make my breakfast, Hamilton is right there. I get out my mat and I'm doing a downward dog and he's underneath. He's quite the pug about town. He gets invited to a lot of parties. He knows he's a pretty big deal. I mean, look at this little face. How could you not love him?
Welcome back to Grady Sportsource. The Oconee County Warriors have been solid so far this season, with the team's only loss coming to Clark Central in Week 2. In his 6th season as Oconee County's head football coach, Travis Nolan has a resume packed with football accomplishments. His impact goes beyond records.
Coach Travis Nolan is looking to be the first coach in Oconee County history to lead the program to 6 consecutive playoff appearances. For Nolan, the secret to his success has been the plan.
I stole it from Lou Holtz when he was at South Carolina. I went down there to a clinic and saw it and took a picture of it and come back and had a bunch of signs made. And so at every school I've ever been at, we hang that in every room in the building.
Coach Andrew Stamey played quarterback for Nolan in high school and still remembered the plan from all those years ago.
I think it applies to every situation in football. I think there's also an aspect or a part of it that applies to life.
For Stamey, the plan and Coach Nolan's mentorship has helped him as a coach, but also as a father.
Football season takes you away from your family a lot during the season, and he's, taught me a lot about how to navigate that. When you're here, you're working, but when you don't need to be here, go be with your family.
Nolan's lessons as a father reach beyond his coaching staff. After coaching all of his sons, he sets the example of fatherhood to his entire program.
I want our players over the years to see what a dad is, you know. I wanted them to see what our family really is.
His son Ben is currently on the team. To him, his dad shows his teammates what he's seen his entire life.
He treats me the same as he'll treat them. He's different at home. He acts like a regular dad, but we watch a lot of film together. We just always have football on, pretty much.
Between all the wins and losses in his career, coaching his sons has provided some of the most vivid memories for Nolan.
One of my fondest memories, and I don't look forward to it with Ben, was just walking off the field the last night of Zeb's senior year because he and Abe were together. You know, I remember that, but there's so many great memories that I don't have one that just stands out, to be honest with you.
Ali Santoro, Grady Sportsource.
Now let's talk about this week's player in the spotlight, Athens Academy senior Kurt Knisely. I'm joined again by Jack and Kevin. Guys, Knisely's a player that really doesn't show up big on the stat sheets often.
Yeah, there's a reason for that, Elizabeth. Normally, Knisely plays behind the 4-star Laneith Whitehead, but with Whitehead out for the regular season and possibly longer, Knisely is thrust into that feature back role.
Yeah, Knisely has played and started every game for the Spartans the last 4 seasons. This kid is truly the Iron Man for that team. He's played through a broken ankle and a hernia, all without missing a start.
Yeah, he's also played nearly every position on the field outside of offensive and defensive line. Most of you guys have heard of Taysom Hill from the Saints. He plays a ton of positions. Knisely's just like that. He's played safety, linebacker, running back, slot receiver, and fullback, along with some return duties.
Yeah, and Knisely's dedication and connection to his team goes beyond his relationship with his teammates. His dad, Kurt, is the Spartans' running back coach. He'll be working more closely with his dad now that Whitehead's out.
You know, on the football field is business, but when we get home, we try to stay away from football as least as possible because he's my dad. And, you know, I think I go a lot of credit to him for my success because he taught me a lot from a very young age when I was playing Little League. I was doing stuff that high schoolers were doing at the time. So I think my dad gets a lot of credit, and our relationship is really good. We're close, but when we're on the field, it's all football. When we're off the field, it's not football at all.
The relationship between the two is sure to be strictly business tonight as the Spartans take on the Bulldogs of George Walton Academy in our game of the week. Spartans head coach Josh Alexander is looking to keep the offensive attack balanced and find players to step into the roles that Whitehead once filled going into tonight's matchup.
Well, anytime you lose a player like him, it definitely affects everything. So we've had to go back and become a little bit more creative and change some things offensively. But it's been a lot more fun, you know, trying to figure out a way to distribute the ball around. Because, you know, when he's standing back there, he's good for 3 touchdowns. You know, and so it's one of those things that it was fun on Sunday trying to figure out the pieces, put the pieces of the puzzle in the right place, and you know, and trying to figure out what we want to do and do it well.
Yeah, that's what Coach Alexander had to say. When I talked to George Walton head coach Shane Bell, he really felt like they were going to use that double wing to run the ball a lot and really wear down an Athens Academy defense that, although they're pretty good, he feels like they can take advantage in the 3rd and 4th quarter.
All right, so after all that, Kevin, Jack, who are you guys taking in this one?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and take that. I think ACAD is going to win this game. Even without Whitehead, the offense is balanced, and the defense has plenty of experience against the double wing. They've already played 2 games against double wing teams. It's just going to be too much for a weaker George Walton team.
And I agree. Athens Academy has won 8 of the first 9 matchups between George Walton Academy, and I expect them to extend their winning streak tonight to 8 straight games against them.
Sounds like it will be a good matchup. We've got another packed Friday night of football in the Athens area this week. Be sure to follow us on Twitter and Instagram at @ByGradySports for all that we're doing here at Sportsource. And for a discussion of all high school sports around the area, check out the Athens Banner Herald weekly Best of Preps podcast. For Jack Sadigan and Kevin Keneally and our entire production team, I'm Elizabeth Hurd. Thank you for joining us for another episode of Grady Sportsource. Good night.
Grady News Source is a student production of the Grady College of Journalism and Mass Communication at the University of Georgia, which is solely responsible for its contents. Views expressed do not represent those of the administration nor the Board of Regents at the University System of Georgia.
There's a lot of fear in coming back to school. I'm a 40-year-old man that walked in there to get his high school diploma. It was very hard for me, but one of the teachers was Miss Araceli. She gave me direction. Every single time I had a question, she'll put down whatever she's doing and she'll sit there with you until you get it. 50% of getting your high school diploma is walking through those doors. The other 50% is doing the work.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
Is your family in need of more quality time together?
Hello, I'm Dr. Spruce. Nature is best enjoyed together. So bring the whole family to discover all the bonding and stress-reducing benefits parks and forests have to offer. Visit discovertheforest.org and trade in phone time for family time.
Birds, squirrels, chipmunks, grass, worms, bugs, trees, rocks, and other objects in nature cannot talk. If you'd like to have a conversation while visiting nature, you will need to bring humans along. We strongly recommend starting with your family.
La 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 la, I love you so. I love you, I love you. La 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 la, la 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 la.
We're here.
Yay!
It's a short drive from your neighborhood to your naturehood. To find a neighborhood park or green space near you, visit discovertheforest.org.